Oh, it was the other day. Let me see. Right, I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes, see if there's anybody else that's due to come in while I play with my dog. I've put you all on mute, so don't panic. It's just so that the sound quality is a little bit better. So don't worry, your speakers are not misfunctioning. It's just that I've muted you for now. And we'll have you all have a word with us in a minute. Woohoo! Ah. Come here, puppy. Come here, puppy. Right, I think we might all be here. Can everybody hear me all right? Can I get a thumbs up for sound check? Brilliant, thank you. That's nice, because otherwise I get all worried. I've had another go at setting up the double cameras. I'm hoping that works. At the moment, you can't see the other camera, but in theory, it should, if I can remember how to do it, it should allow us to be able to have a slightly better view. So I'll just show you. It gives us a little bit more floor, but it cuts my head off. But so that when I stand back here, you should be able to see more of Dodo and what we're doing. Anyway, we'll see. I'll play about with it. Hopefully it'll make it easier, but I'll turn that video off for now, so that hopefully that way you're not then trying to always look at the wrong camera. We'll see how it works out. Right then, so we're going to get a quick report from each of you, see how you're going. So I'm going to pick on you one and put you on the spot.
Good morning.
I'm going to pick on you one at a time and put you on the spot. So we're going to start off with Graham Batley. So if I press the ask you to unmute button and you then unmute yourself, let us know how you're getting on with your baby. How's life doing?
Was that us, Julie? We can't see you. All I've got is a video preview.
Ooh, what have I done wrong?
Yeah, well, I can't get rid of it. I'll come back out and try again.
Not you, it's me. Is that better? You should see me.
I can see you in the background, but I've just got a square video at the minute. I'll Mike.
Yeah, it's me. I'm trying to with the cameras, so I know what I've done wrong.
Come back out and let me see if I can zoom in again.
Don't worry about it, darling. Where is she? Ollie! puckering somewhere?
No.
Now then.
I can
That's
hear you, but I can't get rid of this creep. Hang on.
Yeah, you should be able to see me now.
Yeah, you're on screen, but I've got this video preview right in smack bang in the middle and it won't disappear. Join with video. The sun's shining. Let me get out of here. Yeah, I don't know what's got it. Seems to have got. Yeah, it's like frozen, the blooming thing.
We'll mute you for a second. I'll mute you for a second. Let's see if you can sort your video out. Yeah? And we'll just go and have a word with someone else. Let's see if James and Bruno wants to bring us up to date with how they're doing at the moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much all right, to be honest. Out for walks and that, he's fine. Just watches the traffic go by, then he moves again. But other than biting shoes, he's fine. And stop it.
Get excited when you're moving your hands around as well. That's quite normal.
It's just probably two 15-minute slots a day where he bites shoes and stuff. But other than that, fine, really.
Good. It's normal. I mean, puppy biting's horrible, but it is normal when they get overtired, when they need a poo, when they need anything really, and they don't know how to tell you. And they're starting to get frustrated. And then it's just normal for them to be testing to see what's going on. How they don't know what things feel like or anything. We don't know that these are any different to any other object.
Yeah.
And the only way they can find that out is by testing it. You know, it's by seeing what happens if I do this, what happens if I bite this. So it's important that we don't get angry. It's important that we just explain by moving our hands away. My hands are really good fun. And you want my hands on you. You want my hands to interact with you. But if you bite them, they're not available. I'm not fun anymore. Yeah. So, and the hardest part, I think, of living with a puppy is biting. But you're doing a perfect job there of getting him biting onto something appropriate instead of fingers.
Yeah.
So that's great. All right. Go on. We'll ask Rachel to unmute. Or it's not Rachel. It's clearly somebody else who isn't a Rachel. But we'll ask Kim to be Rachel for now. Hello, darling.
Yeah, Basil, come in. Come and say hello to Julie. Yeah, he's all right. He's been out for a walk today. He loves other people. He gets annoyed when people walk past and don't fuss him. He can't handle that. That wants to go back to him and play. But other than the odd accident, he's toilet trained pretty much. Don't poo inside, but he'll do the odd wee every now and again. But it depends what room he's in. Sometimes he don't know what to tell you, which room he's in. But he likes his food. Yeah, he's all right. He don't bite that much, to be honest.
Good. So, bless him. So you've got a not too bitey baby, but sometimes what can happen with them is that they can then go on to be a bit bitey when they're older. It's almost better if they get the practice in of controlling their bite when they're younger. Puppies who don't bite a lot when they're tiny can worry me sometimes a little bit because they haven't learned to distinguish between things I can bite and things I shouldn't, or you know, are not going to give me as much fun if I bite. But yeah, it's nice living with a puppy that doesn't bite. I must admit, puppies that do bite, oh, they can upset you. They can make you cry. All right, who else have we got? Who hasn't had a word yet? Let's have volunteers rather than me picking on everybody. Otherwise I will. You're all going to have a go anyway. Go and give me a wave if you're going to volunteer to go next. Yeah, go on. Oh, Adam's on it. We'll go with Adam and Sam and Wilma.
Morning. Wilma's doing really well. Like James said, when she does get hold of something, what she's not supposed to. She's exploring. You just got to distract her. Chewing fingers. You just need to say ow to her and she stops. Pot training's going really well, just the odd accident.
Good with number ones, not so good with magic little number twos.
Yeah. And I think that's about it.
Yeah. Mischievous, socks,
Yeah.
pants, everything, but not naughty. She's doing well, just puppy.
Just being a puppy.
Yeah. Slippers.
Yeah.
I've had to sew them up this morning.
Oh, bless. Oh, cute. Looking good. Looking confident. Okay. Go on then. And Graham, you offered, didn't you? I saw you wiggle, so we'll have you next. If you unmute yourself for me. Should see a little button to press unmute.
Hello?
Is that it, Julie?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Solly's getting on fine. We're having to wear wellies in the kitchen because she keeps biting our ankles.
Yeah. Brilliant solution.
Yeah.
So, something so you don't have to respond. I think it's really important they don't find out that it's fun making us squeak. So
Yeah.
Well, we've got the book. What you recommended. Squeak and Gray's been reading it. Obviously, Gray's had 5 dogs. This is the first time ever. So she's really good. She's growing. We can't take her out yet because the second injection last Monday at the vet, they split it into 2. So she had the first one, then she had half of the second one, and we've got the other one a week on Monday. But we're walking her up and down the drive. She's responding. She rings the bell. She sleeps from 8:45 to 8:30. When she gets a bit boisterous and a bit snappy, we just give her some time out, and then she's lovely. You know, it's just it's different.
She can get aggressive if you tell her not to do something.
but just like any toddler, you know, they're very much in the sort of toddler going on teenager stage where they don't have emotional control. They if there's something that's upsetting them, they'll blow up like a tornado, and that's not have those systems in place yet. So what we don't want to do is make that worse by arguing, by you know, upsetting them or scaring them. We just need to accept can't handle it right now. You go all super.
She's locking on to his genes, but same as the other people. You know, about the same. I think we're not too worried, are we? And as soon as we can, we'll go to that. Is it open? Ticky Takes? Is it?
It's open. We do daycare, and the puppies can, once they're fully vaccinated, they can come and spend time with daycare dogs. Not all of the daycare dogs are safe, so they only are invited for a very short period. You don't have them in all. But that's we're offering dog socialization that way, rather than we can't have people and puppies in the building together.
We haven't got many friends that have got puppies. We've got friends that have got huge dogs, but I think they'd eat her. We've been a bit protective of her. But yeah, it's okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Right, and mute you. If you've got anyone else who hasn't had a go yet, is our Richard. Go on then, darling. If you press your unmute button.
Yeah, she's walking better with a harness now. We're just trying to think about whether we can be brave enough to let her off.
I think Tess is a bit older than the others because she's 5 months. So I think she's that bit older, isn't she? But she's got so much energy and she's so fast that I think the walking, she's not burning off enough energy as such. She goes mad around the garden. But I think she needs a good run. I think she's got a spaniel in her, so she wants to be up.
Luckily then, you do this week are probably going to help you feel more confident about that. I'm going to give you some solutions to get you going towards that goal. So that's good. That's that should fit nicely for her, especially for today. I'm glad you've said that.
And it does look like she's going to sleep through this session again. She's just got dropped off asleep.
She sleeps 10 till 11. This will be the 3rd week she slept through it.
I'm beginning to believe that perhaps you don't even really have a dog, and that's just.
Yeah.
I can show you.
At least she's getting into a routine.
You see that?
Yeah. Oh dear.
Everybody up to date? Who haven't I? I've got everyone, haven't I? All right.
You see.
So, mute you again, darling. Yeah, so I'm still playing about with the cameras to try and get the best angle for you to get the best view so that you're not missing anything. And it does mean you've got 2 of me at slightly different angles. But at least hopefully this time the sound won't play up too badly. And I must apologise for the hair because I did wash it this morning and I didn't then do anything else with it. So it's all, it's a bit wild, but I'm sure you're not here to look at the hair. So that's fine. What we're going to do today, the plan is to get you doing an extension on some of the stuff that we've already done in the last couple of weeks. So we're going to take it on a little bit and talk about how to carry on that training and move it on through stages. Also, we're going to have a word about lead work and recalls. So we started a little bit of lead work last week and talked about equipment. This week, we're going to talk about how to really start getting them to move with you rather than at the moment you're playing, kind of having them chase you and follow you a little bit. So let's change this view. So which me do you like best? There's 2 of us. We're going to go over here. And here's my Dodo. I don't think you've met Dodo because I think for the last couple of weeks he's been away doing assessments for the daycare with Dawn. So this is my youngest. He's just over 2.5. You stole that, that's mine, thank you. Just over 2.5, so he's still a little bit of a puppy in his brain, but he's getting there in lots of other ways. But he's a good demo dog because he sometimes get it wrong still. And I like to be able to show you what I do when they get it wrong. Because I think it's so easy being a human to lose your temper and to start to push and pull and physically manipulate them. And that's a normal human response. You know, that's what we do. But it doesn't actually teach the dog anything. So when you're teaching, I think it's really important that you're very clear about what you want them to do. So we're going to have a look at a little behavior called the touch, because as you can see, he's very food orientated. He's very, very keen to get the food that's in my hand. And I like that. I want him to be pushy for food. But at the same time, I don't want to get stuck in the future with always having to have food in my hand. So I want him still to be able to respond. Now, can you see how he's switched off as soon as I put the food away? And he's come back to see if there's any more, and then he's gone, oh, there's none there, I'm going to switch off. So we want to get them interested in doing what we want them to do, even when there isn't food in the hand. So this is one of the little techniques that can help them to understand that. And this is called the hand touch, which if you've been on to the Facebook group, the Tikes Toddlers group, you'll have seen some explanations of that. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a target. And we're going to make our hand target look different from how we normally use our hands. So when I'm talking, I'm a very sort of mobile with my hands kind of a person, so I move them around, and I want my hand touch target to look completely different. I want it to be flashy and clear. And when I offer it, yes, I want him to touch it with his nose. That's my aim. Yes. All right. Now what I'm going to do when he touches it, yes, is I'm going to give him a marker word to tell him that I'm going to go and get that treat. So the treats are in my pocket, they're not in my other hand, I'm not waving them around. If you need to hold them in your other hand, get that other hand out of the way. Okay, so yes, and then go get that treat. Now the yes, the marker word needs to be at exactly the same time as the nose hits your hand. That's, imagine taking a photo, yes, of that nose touching that hand. Yes, if you press the shutter a little bit too late, then what you're going to get is a photo of the dog taking the nose off the hand. Yeah, so we want it to be, yes, as soon as that nose touches that hand. So I want you to all have a little go at that, and we'll see if anyone's got any problems with it. Now, if your puppy won't go towards the hand at all, you're going to do a little sneaky trick. So the first couple, what we're going to do is the Vulcan greeting. We're going to put a treat between those fingers and close them tight. That makes the dog want to sniff at that hand, but they can't take it. When they sniff it, you say yes, but you give them a treat from somewhere else. You don't give them that one. Yes, go and get your treat to reward them. And then after a couple, get rid of that treat. Yes. So get rid of that. That's one that's stuck in your fingers. It's just to help them think, ooh, what is that? Now, the other thing you can do, make the distance that they have to travel really short. So to begin with, all they're going to do is stretch their nose out a little bit to touch the hand. Yes. And then treat. And what I want you to do is I want the one that they touched to be the one that gives them the treat. Okay, so that treat is, your hand is empty to begin with, or unless you've got it in your sneaky Vulcan grip. But we don't give them the Vulcan grip treat. We go and get a different one, but we reward from the same hand that we did the touch with. Does that make sense to anybody? Anybody not understanding? Anybody not had a touch yet? Give me a wave or a wiggle or a hands up if you haven't had a touch at all yet. Okay, so once you've got that tiny little stretch towards your hand, then all we do is move it away a tiny bit more. So they've got to stretch a tiny bit more. And eventually they have to take half a step to move towards the hand. And then they take a couple of steps to move towards the hand. So we slowly, slowly grow how far they have to travel. And I really want you to make it obvious that that hand is different from normal hands. It looks different. It acts different. And after you've given them a treat, give them a couple of seconds break before you put that hand back out again. That's really important because we want them to see that hand arrive and be available for them to try and touch it. And if they do it, they get a reward. And if they don't do it, the hand just goes away again. Okay, it goes away for a second. So we flash it in and they do it. Remember that the hand that is your target is also going to be the hand that gives the reward. So let me show you again. So we make sure we really do understand it. So on this occasion, treats are behind me back. So right out of the way, I'm going to go flash, yes. And I'm going to take that hand that was the target and it's going to deliver a reward. So here's my empty hand. It goes, yes, goes behind to get a treat and delivers that reward. Now, if I swap hands, treats are up here. Yes, I'm going to get my reward and it's going to be from that same hand that was originally the target. Does that make sense? Now, that's important because that will make them more likely to want to go back and check that target hand. So they're more likely then to go back and try and touch that target hand. Okay, let's have a look at everybody. See how you're getting on. So I think Wilma's got it. Bruno thinks he's got it. He's not quite sure yet. I think Graham, you've got it, haven't you, I think, by the looks of it. Now, if your puppy's getting bitey and opening their mouth or getting licky, what I want you to do is try and time your marker word just before you know that it's going to touch. Yeah? So that if they're opening their mouth, your hand's already marked and it's on its way to get the reward. Okay? So they've not actually touched your hand. And what will happen then is they'll tend to come in towards it a little bit more with their mouth closed, because they start to think, is it open mouth, is it closed mouth? See if you can try and catch your marker word at exactly the right moment. Now, if you're really clever already, what we're going to get you to do is swap hands. So I'm going to show you what that should look like. Don't worry if you're not at that stage yet. So we've got a little stash. Easier if it's in a treat pouch, because then you can get into the treat pouch with both hands. I'm going to have to, because I've got my stash behind my back, I'm going to have to swap my stash. All right, so yes, go and reward. Now I'm going to put my stash in that hand. Yes, and I'm going to reward with that hand. Stash moves over. Yes, reward there. Stash moves. Yes. Woo, and I dropped that one, but you can have it because that was me being fumbly. All right, so if you're at that stage, do that. If you're not, just do single ones, leave a little break, offer it again, see if they can do it. Bruno's got it. Oh, I can see everybody's got it. Well done. Beautiful. So what use is that? I mean, that just seems like a bit of fun, doesn't it? Well, target training, and this is a hand touch target. Target training is what they use to train any animal in a zoo. Any of those dogs that you see, dogs and cats that you see on telly and the TV adverts, they're all target trained. What use is it in real life? It's endless possibilities. Imagine if I want him to walk nicely by my side, I can offer him a hand touch. Yes. Okay, so all I've done is an extended hand touch. All I've said to him is, keep your nose near that hand, yes. And then food will come when I give my marker word. So I've taken that touch and I've grown it until it's eventually able to move in with me. I can use it for teaching other tricks and things. If you want a really cute trick to teach with a hand touch, then you could go between your legs. You went the wrong way. Yes, good man. Yes, this one. Yes, this one. Yes. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm changing targets so he knows which way to move. So that's quite a cute little fun game. We can do that one though with a different method that you've already learned. Does everybody remember how to lure their puppy? So luring is when you have food actually in the hand. You're going to put it on your hello, very food motivated dog. Okay, you're going to have it in your hand, you're going to put it in your fingers like that, and you're going to cover it with your thumb so they can taste it and they can smell it, but they can't take it until you take your thumb away. You've got full control of that piece of food. And we can use that to teach that same method. So you'll need 2 pieces of food, 1 in each hand. We're going to stand with our puppy facing us. Put your hand behind your back and through your legs. Lure the puppy and pay there. Put this hand behind your back and through your legs and bring them round and pay them there. I'm going to have a bash at that. So puppy starts off facing you in front of you and your hand goes behind your knee to bring them round. Beautiful. And that is what they call a leg weave, which is one of the freestyle dance moves that you'll see on Crufts. That's it, and keep that nose in touch with the hand the whole time. So you're going nice and slow, you're keeping them licking on that treat and you let it go as they come round the side of your leg. Bruno go. Very nice. So luring is one of the ways that we're going to help them to learn to stay with us when we're moving with the lead. Okay, beautiful. So have a rest for a second and I'll do some work. Okay, so next thing we're going to talk about is one of the things that you're going to need to get your puppy off the lead and safe is you're going to need to start teaching a recall. And tiny puppies recall very easily because they're a little bit timid about the world. So they want to stick close to you. So they're more likely to come back to you. But as they get older and more confident, their confidence to move away from the owner and to go off investigating on their own becomes bigger. And then once hormones kick in, it can become quite a big problem if you haven't really taught a very safe recall while they're tiny and kept practicing it. Then teenagers can suddenly become a big problem and not want to come back. You know, why should they? The world is super exciting. And if being with you isn't that exciting in comparison, they're going to choose the world. So what we do to start with our tinies and even with our little teenagers is we are going to pick a word, and it's your own special word, whatever you can say in public that you don't mind saying, something that you're only ever going to use when you're going to call them to you for the best thing in the world. So it needs to be a really high value treat when you're out in the world. For in here, in your own home, doesn't need to be too high value because it's not too difficult when there's low distractions in an environment that they're already comfortable in. But when you start doing it outside, high distraction, good reasons for your puppy to want to go away and stay away, then it needs to be a high value reward. And you need to expect that your puppy's more likely to find it difficult to come away. So we don't want to be telling them off. We're going to talk about preventing them from getting it wrong in a minute. But what I want you to do is I want you to have a word. So for Dodo, his word is, and I say it differently when it's his recall. So his recall word is here, but you're going to hear me say it differently. And I want to say it differently because I want it to cut through. When we're outside in the real world, I need it to cut through the wind. I need it to cut through all of his other distractions. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to ignore him for a little while. I'm not going to look at him. I don't really need him looking at me. And then I'm going to say, here. And I'm going to give him a treat right next to me, either right next to me or right next to my feet. I want him to learn when you hear that word, start moving towards your human. So if you watch, when I say it, you'll see his little body go into a little spasm because he's ready to go. And he knows the reward's going to be right near me. Okay, so the first thing we're introducing is not us running away, but us rewarding after that sound. When you've done that 2 or 3 times, what I want you to do is I want you to add a little run away. So I'm going to go, It's only a tiny runaway, but it's movement. We want them moving and wanting to move in the same direction as us. Okay, so we're going to go. So say it first, then you start moving, and then you reward when they get to you. So that's your bit of fun. Couple of steps. So to begin with, it's just the word for a couple of times. Get them to start to think he's up on the table after the treats. Get them to start to think that sound is important. Then I want you to add a tiny little chase, and the reward always goes right next to your feet. Remember, leave a gap between each trial, otherwise it doesn't work as well. We need a little boring space between each recall, so the dog starts to think, oh, is he going to say it? I want a little bit of anticipation. Say it, go on, say it, go on, say it, go on, say it, go on. Yeah, if they're not having that little gap, they don't get that bit of anticipation, and it can become boring. It can become irritating. So have a little time, let them go and wander away a bit and get a bit distracted and not be constantly focusing on you. And then say it and run. So you do it and then you reward it. And if you're getting it right, what you should be seeing is when you say it, you should see your puppy go, it's that sound, it's that noise, it's so exciting. And they'll already be starting to move towards you before you start running. So remember, say it first, and then move, and then reward by your feet. Okay, and that's enough for one go. So one of the problems that we can find with puppies is if we do something too often and keep doing it and 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 doing it, it can get boring or irritating. We're using the same muscles over and over and over, so they can get physically tired as well. And we don't want them to get to that stage. We want any training that we do to be a little burst of super good, exciting interaction between us and them. So that the next time that we come to do it, they're excited to do it again. Rather than thinking, do you remember what you felt like in your maths lesson? Oh, not this again. Oh, I don't want to do this again. Maybe you liked maths to begin with, but then you got a teacher who made it really tedious. Yeah. Maybe you were excited by it when you were a child because you had a mum or a person who got excited with you about maths, but then you got a teacher who just went on and on and on about it. So whatever you're teaching, especially a recall, don't waste it. So with tiny puppies, when you're out and about in the real world, if you are calling them while they're still busy doing something, you are going to have them learn to ignore you. So we're going to just practice what you do when they're already engaged doing something. All right, so I want you to get something that you think your puppy quite likes, a toy. It can be food. I'm going to use food to do my demo. All right, and I'm just going to show you that what I want you to do is call them when they're already looking at you. All right, so you have to watch this. Okay, I'm going to put me on the other view. That's just silly. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him a reason to want to ignore me. I'm going to put some food over there. I'm going to wait. As soon as he looks up, that's when I'm calling. When he looks up and wonders, I wonder if she's doing anything, I'm going to call him because he's already prepped to want to move towards me. So we'll throw him over there. As soon as he looks up, okay, now I haven't got much room to move if I move in both directions. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to roll the treat away a little bit. So the puppy is eating that treat and they're facing away from us. When they turn around, they're already sort of looking in our direction. That's when we call and run a little bit and roll that treat away a little bit. Now be careful with the really tinies. They're not very good at tracking movement. So the food doesn't want to be going too far away from you. All right, otherwise they won't see where it goes. And I want you to make sure that they get it each time. So if they don't find it, take them back and point it out to them. Otherwise they won't think they're getting a reward. Let's have a look. So let them be engaged, wait for them to look round and then call them again and make it exciting, get into you. And you roll that treat reward away a little bit so that it engages them, call them, and then roll the treat away again in the opposite direction so they get it. And that way you get to practice lots of recalls where they're already a little bit engaged with something, but they're anticipating that you're going to call them again and it's going to be exciting. And we're adding a little bit of chase to that. Okay, and again, don't do too much of it in one go. We don't want them to get tired. So 2 or 3 of those and take a sit. We don't want them thinking of this as tiring. Now then, we've already mentioned out in the real world, your puppy's going to be distracted. It's really important that we let puppies really engage with the environment, really take everything in. And if we're asking them to pay attention to us all of the time, we can actually become a bit of a nag, a bit boring to be with. And we're also potentially reducing the amount of socialization that they're getting. So we're making it harder for them in the future to be able to understand normal. So we need one of these. So this is your long line. And this makes it possible for the puppy to safely investigate the world with you still feeling secure that you're not going to lose your pup. It also gives you opportunities then to safely practice your recall and know that even if the pup decides that actually on this occasion, this sniff is more interesting than what I think you're doing or what I think you've got, you can still make sure that they're not going to wander further away. They're not going to get into trouble. So you can get these for about 10 to 12 pounds on eBay. And for puppies, the lighter and the thinner the line, the better. So Dodo's quite big, but this is how wide, so it's about finger width, so about 1/2 inch-ish. All right, that's how big his long line lead is for when I take him new places where I'm not sure whether or not he'd be too excited or interested in the environment. So it doesn't need to be anything heavy. If possible, try and find something that has, there's a brand new one which is waterproof, which I really want, but it's about 25 quid, so I haven't invested yet. So you will find some really nice waterproof ones that don't pick up the dirt. But remember with your puppy, once they get wet, they're going to be heavier, and your puppy's got to carry that weight on their collar, preferably on the harness. So the waterproof ones might be worth investing, but 25 quid and then the puppy chews it up. Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, don't know. All right, any questions about all of that bit? Let's put you on gallery view. Anybody got any wiggles or waves for me? You all happy at the moment? Let's give us some feedback then. Is it a thumbs up situation? Yeah? Happy peoples? Good. All right, so we had a quick look at the idea of eye contact. We're going to have another look at that. So, eye contact. If your puppy isn't looking at you, how do you know whether or not they're listening to you? We don't, do we? So, getting eye contact is a really good way of knowing that they're ready to hear what you want them to do. It's really important that we teach them how to do that. So, but it's hard for puppies. because especially being as the food has been coming from our hands, they focus very much on our hands. They don't always focus on our face. So we're going to try and help them to learn that the face is important. All right, so what I want you to do with this is you're going to have a piece of food. Let's go on speaker view. You're going to have a piece of food and you're going to just hold it a little bit away from your face. You're going to keep it still, but you're going to hold it a little away from your face. I don't know if I can turn him around so you can see. Yes, when he glances into my eyes, I'm going to give him his marker word and I'm going to give him that piece of food. Yes, as long as it takes. So it might just be the eyes that move to begin with. It might not be the whole head. My hand's not really far away from my face, so it's not too hard to move your eyes from here to here. We're going to make it harder as we go along, okay? So here's the food. Yes! Did you see that little glance? I don't know if I've got it on camera. When he's really good at doing it there, I'm going to move my hand out here. Yes! And you can see then he's having to move his head a little bit further. And when he's really good at making that choice, yes, I'm going to start adding a little bit of difficulty to it. So here my hand now is going to start moving, yes, a tiny bit. So I'm moving my thumb. Yes. My marker word, the timing needs to be when I can see is glancing at my face. So see if you can get that. You have to be really, really quick and really notice when that eye contact glances over towards you and get your marker word in at exactly the right time. So have the hand high enough so it's not grabbable. Have it really high. And then wait. There. Beautiful, Wilma. Well done. So we don't want it to look like a lure. Don't forget, we've been luring them. We've been using that food in our hand. Your puppy's going to go to the hand and try and get to the hand. So we want to have it far enough out of the way that it's not going, they're not going to think that. We want them to think, what else can I do? What do you want me to do? And that question, what do you want me to do? That'll get them to look towards your eyes. And it's about patience. It's about making it obvious that jumping towards a hand or moving towards a hand is not going to work. And just being patient and holding on. It's a hard thing to do. All right, so we'll leave you with that and let you practice that at home. We'll go on to something else. All right, now we don't tend, with the eye contact, I don't tend to give it a name. I don't say, look at me, but I have found that I do tend to ask my dogs to listen. And the response to listen is that they will look at me. Now, that's not something I've taught on purpose, but you might find that you end up with a verbal cue for it as well. I say, are you listening? Yeah. But we don't want to put it on cue because we almost want it to become a default. If the dog's not sure what to do, look into the eyes. Yeah. So it's they can then ask you for things. They can ask you by giving you eye contact. Okay, going to have a look at the sit again, but this time we're going to add some difficulty. So we're going to ask for your sit, either with a lured sit or with an empty hand, using the same signal that you've used. Going to mark that sit, yes, and reward. Now I want you to stand still a little bit, move your hands, tiny. Yes, we want them to learn sitting is the right thing to do, even if the owner wiggles. Yes, sitting is the right thing to do, even if the owner dances. Yes, is the right thing to do, even if the owner dances and moves away. So we're adding distance and duration and distractions, but we're going to do it in tiny stages. If your puppy keeps getting up, you're adding too much difficulty. All right? So we want them to be winning. We want them to be getting loads of rewards. So we start with, it might just be that you play with your food a little bit. It might just be that you stand and you just wiggle your thumb to begin with. For some puppies, it might be that you can only just readjust your body position slightly. But you slowly grow how many things you can do with your puppy still maintaining, sitting and doing nothing else. Yeah? And I want you to see how much fun you can get while your puppy is knowing sit is the right thing to do. Good boy, you can go get them. All right, so let's see how silly you can get, and your puppy still understands that sit is all that they have to do. They keep moving, help them to go back to the same position. Remember what you did that was too difficult and reduce that difficulty. Get back to where they're winning. So you're not nagging them to stay there, you're not reminding them to stay there. What you're going to do is you're going to get them to understand staying there is exactly the right thing to do. And remember, everybody's going to be at different stages. So don't look at everyone else's and go, oh, my dog can't do that, he's never going to be able to do it. Yes, he will, once he understands, and you need to help your puppy to understand. Ooh, don't stretch it too far, Wilma. You were doing really, really well. That's it. Get in there before they break. Get in there while they're doing well. Get that reward to them quickly. So distance, duration, and distraction. So what we're doing is we're starting to explain to the puppy, if we ask you to do this thing, do it regardless of whatever else is going on. So that when we start asking them to do it out in the wild, with all those cars and people and things, we're going to show them that it means the same. So we're going to be doing dancing and being silly outside in the wild as well, I'm afraid, because that is what you need to do. All right, so again, we're not going to practice something too much and get them feeling bored and getting annoyed. So have a rest. We're going to talk about leads again. Demo. So the aim this time is we're going to start seeing if we can teach them to move forward with us. But the way we're going to do that is we're going to have them first learn to follow. So it's going to be a luring game. So you need food in the hand, one piece in the hand. Choose which side of you want your dog to work on. Personally, I like my dogs to work on both sides. You might find most traditional trainers and for obedience work, they're going to want you to work your dog on your left-hand side. It might be that you're right-handed or left-handed and you prefer your dog to work on the other side, or it might be that you've got a dog already working on one side and you want your new dog to work on the other side. So you choose. Personally, as I say, I prefer my dog to be able to work both sides of me. All right, so for this demo, I'm going to work Dodo on his left. So I'm going to put my lure in my left hand. Yeah. And what we're going to do with your puppy, because it's easier for them, we're going to lure them towards you and reward. It's going to be 1 or 2 steps, but the reward and the lure stay right next to my body. So when he's moving, right next to my body. So I'm going to let go of it when his nose is shoving into my body. Now I know with your tinies, that means you're going to be walking like this. You're going to be really low. So if you've got a bad back, I'm sorry about that, but we have got a little solution for you, which you can ask me about. If it's really difficult, if you can't do it, we can teach you a different way of getting it. So first move is going to be lure them towards you and reward right next to you. The second move is going to be get them next to your side and move sideways away from them. All right, so I'm going to go take a big step sideways. So I'm moving away from my puppy, but I'm rewarding right next to my leg. And the third move then is going to be move forward with your dog so that they're moving in a straight line the same direction as you. So here we are, we're going to move forward. But what I want you to do is practice those 3 moves as separate things. I want you to do one and then do the other and then do the forward one. So we're going to go puppies facing, going backwards, reward there. Puppy sideways, I go sideways and he chases me that way. And then we're going to go, I move forward and puppy moves forward with me. Okay, so there are your 3 little moves I want you to do. So we get them right on the lure. We want soggy fingers and licky tongues. We want that nose entirely engaged on our hand. We pay when our hand is touching our body. So they're all the way with us. We're not reaching out to them. And they do get taller and you're not going to be bending like this for the rest of your lives. All right. We need to get our hands really low because we don't want to encourage them to jump up. We want them to be rewarded where we want their head to be when they're walking with us. And you can do this without a lead on. The only reason I've put a lead on for you is because I want you to get used to the idea that the lead doesn't teach your puppy how to walk with you. The lead doesn't do training. You do the training. The lead, if you've trained your puppy to move with you properly, the lead is just a safety net to stop them from getting into trouble. It's just to prevent them from having difficulties. So be careful that you don't pull on the lead, that it doesn't go tight while you're doing this, because we don't want the lead to put them off moving with you. So you can do it without if you prefer, if it's easier, but I also want you to practice holding the lead and using food at the same time. All right, so we're going to turn this into a little game. We're going to make it into a little dance. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 steps with the first move, 1, 2, 3, and pay. 3 steps with the second move, 1, 2, 3, and 1 step and sit with the third. Okay, so 3, 3, 1 to begin with. So 3 backwards, 1, 2, 3, and pay. 3 sideways, 1, 2, 3, and pay, and 1 forwards and sit. So that if you've done it properly, that sit, your puppy will be sitting facing in the same direction as you. Little bit awkward with the spaces. I know I'm having the same difficulty with mine, so you might have to do yourself a little plan on the floor. Get your soft chalks out. You can put little cones out to remind you where to change if you're that kind of a person, or little sticky dots on the floor to remind you when to move in the other direction. 1, 2, 3, these are doing brilliantly, and forward and sit. So with the low sit, yeah, head comes up and back, and that will help the bottom to drop. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to make it harder. Who's ready for harder? Go on, give me a hands up, thumbs up if you're ready for harder. And smile. All right, good-o. So we're going to go harder. And the way we make it harder is we reduce the easy moves. So the easy moves for the dog are the one where they're moving towards you and the one where you're moving sideways. We're going to do less of those. And we're going to do more of the moving forward together. So this time we're going to go 1, 2, pay, 1, 2, pay, 1, 2, sit. So it's twos. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Have a go. See how you get on. Have you got any water in there? Yeah. You get that? All right, go on, ask me. Unmute and ask me.
Can you just repeat that? We missed it completely, please.
Sorry, you got it. So on the first go, what we did was 3 and then 3 and 1. This time we're doing 2 and 2 and 2. Okay, so 2 you move backwards, 2 you move sideways, and 2 you move forwards, and then sit. So we've made the hard one, which is the moving forward with the owner, we've made that a little bit longer. And we've made the other 2 a little bit shorter. Okay, now with Wilma, make sure that your hand pays right next to your leg, because if you're reaching out sideways to deliver the treat, your puppy's learning that's where the treat is going to be. We want them to learn the treat's going to be right next to your leg, right next to your body all of the time. That's where they need to position themselves. And I know it's really awkward when you've got a tiny, tiny baby and you're a tall person. It's really hard, but make sure your reward is always right next to your leg, because that's where they're going to learn to want to place themselves. And we can make that harder over the course of time. So eventually you're going to be walking down. So we're still really doing that drunk walk that we were talking about, but we're just putting a little bit of, we're making it a little bit more sensible so we can learn it. So eventually we might be doing 3 or 4 backwards and some sideways, and then only rewarding when we're going forward together. Eventually. So you can play with the numbers. But it's to get the puppy interested in playing the game and to help them find the right position, the right reward position. And the right reward position is when their body is touching you and they are right next to you, just here. Yeah? And if we sit, oh, you moved backwards. Sit. And you should be able to sit and not lose contact with my hand. All right, so that's for the future. but you slowly grow it. And remember, when you take it out in the wild, it will be more difficult for them. There's more distractions, so expect less. Out in the wild, you're going to do more of the easy ones, the moving backwards and the moving sideways, and less of the hard ones, the moving forward together. And remember, as with all practice with tinies, don't overdo it. Don't do it to the point at which they're tired. Don't do it to the point at which they're bored. Do some, have fun, go to do something else instead. Any questions about any of that? I'm going to do one little tiny bit extra. All right, so we've been doing a lot of luring just now, and what the puppy can learn very quickly is, if there's food in the hand, follow the person. But we don't want them to be stuck with being food in the hand, so we can get them onto the touch, but that's going to take a little while to learn. So what we're going to do is we're going to start teaching them that they don't always have to have food in the hand. Okay, so we're going to mess about with them a little bit. What I want you to do is I want you to find an object. My stool is perfect size for him, but you might need something a bit smaller for your puppy. And I want you to put food in your hand, and I want you to take your puppy with that food in your hand around that object. So you're staying still, the puppy does the moving. Puppy does the moving. Yes. All right. Now I want you, for the third time, pretend that the food is in your hand. Okay, your hand moves in exactly the same way. Yes, and when they get to the other side, put some food in that same hand that you've just lured them around with. So they thought there wasn't any food there, and then there was some food there. So we're rewarding with the hand that we lure with, but we're going to lure with an empty hand on the third go. Does that make sense to everybody? Oh, vacuum cleaner, that's a nice one. I like that. There we go, 2 with some food, and then 1 with none. The beezers have collapsed. You take your hand down, and if you find that they get stumped and they're not sure, and they're sort of halfway round, you can put some food back into your hand and lure them the rest of the way round. So you can go back to food. We want them guessing, is the food there or isn't it there? Should I do it anyway? And just in case the food is going to be there. So we're getting them to not rely that the food is definitely there. We want them guessing. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. But they're always going to be rewarded when they've done it, regardless. If you start with no food, they're still going to get a reward once you've done it. Okay. So that's the same whatever you're teaching. If you're teaching them to sit, and at the moment they're relying on food to be there, then what we're going to do, we can start with a lure to sit, and you can reward them after that lure, and then we're going to do a pretend lure to sit, but we're going to put the food back into that hand to give them that food, so that the food comes from the hand that did the luring. Same as when we were doing the hand target, the food comes from the hand that was doing the targeting. Does that make sense to everybody? Has anybody's puppy just gone, I don't understand when there's no food there. I can't do it. It's too hard. Because they do, you know. It's us that teaches them only do it when there's food in the hand. It's us that teaches them that. So we now need to make sure they understand, do it even when there isn't food there. Yeah. Anyway, so this is me and Dodo. We're going to sign off for today. We hope you've had a good time. I hope you've been pleased to meet my boyo. Give a kiss. Dody, dody, dodo. He says, I can't. Your head's in the wrong place. All right. Anybody got any questions before I sign you off? Is everybody quite happy for today? Okay, give us a puppy wave. Give us a puppy wave and a baby. Yeah. All right. See you later. Bye.